What is good, Ninja? OG over here from Player Essence, and welcome to another PE News. Today we have some awesome topics for you guys, from more of a discussion on the latest media create sales charts when it comes to No Kuni 2 and Valkyria Chronicles 4. There was a lot of discussion going on with that, and I had a live stream as well to discuss kind of the changing dynamics and kind of what people can expect, so I want to talk about that a little bit more. We also have some brand new costumes coming to Super Mario Odyssey and Fire Emblem Warriors DLC in terms of the Awakening Pack, plus a brand new update is live, so we have the full patch notes on that, so let's go ahead and get right into this. Alright, and we are starting off with the Japanese media crate when it comes to No Kuni 2 and Valkyria Chronicles 4. The news broke out recently that No Kuni 2 necessarily didn't have the biggest launch in Japan in addition to Valkyria Chronicles 4. Just as a refresher for those who did not watch my video or didn't see the article, Valkyria Chronicles 4 on the PlayStation 4 sold 62,921 units in its first week, while No Kuni 2 Revenant Kingdom sold 56,014 units. Now the big hubbub about this, or what was going on, is that Kirby Star Allies on the Nintendo Switch, a game that reviewed less than both of those and is generally looked at as not as good of a game on the Nintendo Switch, and basically is not an RPG, you know, just basically all the typical things that you would think that would not do well in Japan, although it's Kirby, sold another 84,625 units, and the PlayStation 4 didn't really boost up in sales despite getting two top tier, some would even say AAA RPGs in the same week, and PlayStation 4 sales were still less than half than what the Nintendo Switch sales were. On top of that, Monster Hunter, there's just been a ton of games that have been hitting the PlayStation 4 in Japan, and the Nintendo Switch, essentially with Kirby and all of the games that came out last year, are still outselling it. So there was a lot of talk going on when it comes to Gamatsu in terms of the comment section there, and just users in general on Twitter and everything, and what's going on with the Japanese gaming industry, and what's going on with No Kuni 2. Why did it do better? Why didn't Valkyria Chronicles 4 do better? And I think that, one, I want to put this out there first and foremost, I think that both of those games, when it comes to No Kuni 2 and when it comes to Valkyria Chronicles 4, will do better in the West. Now, how well will each of those titles do? I'm not really sure. I think it depends on the marketing for Valkyria Chronicles 4. What we've seen from No Kuni 2 is that there has been no marketing, almost, that they really haven't marketed it much on Amazon. The game is way down, like in the 60th range when it comes to sales, and it just launched. You don't want to see that. Kirby and other games are above it. Heck, Monster Hunter is still above it, and many other games are above it, so that's definitely not good. Not confident about No Kuni 2 sales, but we'll have to wait and see for Valkyria Chronicles 4. The biggest thing for me, though, is that what people need to understand is to stop arguing about things like this. It doesn't matter how good your game is at this point when it comes to the Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, whatever the case is. If you're a Japanese RPG and you're releasing in Japan and you don't have a Nintendo Switch version, sales will be lower. You will lose sales point blank. And I know people are going to mention, okay, well, what about Monster Hunter? Monster Hunter, I feel personally, would have done better on the Nintendo Switch if it was released in Japan. I personally feel that it would have done better. Now, I don't know about international, but I know in Japan, because we're talking about Japanese sales here, I feel that it would have done better. And if you're looking at Valkyria Chronicles 4, and if you're looking at No Kuni 2, these are two games that aren't as high profile as Monster Hunter, aren't as high profile as Dragon Quest and all that. So to expect them to do astronomically well and not have a Nintendo Switch version is very tough, considering Valkyria Chronicles 4, for example. That game is like an action turn-based style of game. It is perfect for the Nintendo Switch. It fits right in with what people want to do. Now, there will be a Switch version of that game. It's just coming out this summer in Japan, and the rest of the world, it's sometime in 2018. People are kind of pinpointing and kind of looking up things when it comes to retail listings as potentially as October, or a Western release when it comes to PS4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. Now, No Kuni 2 is PC and PS4 only, but yes, No Kuni 2 would have done much better on the Nintendo Switch if it launched on that system. We can date this all the way back to No Kuni 1, the original one. There was an exclusive or different type of No Kuni for the Nintendo DS versus No Kuni on the PlayStation 3, and the DS version of No Kuni absolutely obliterated the PS3 version of No Kuni in sales when it comes to Japan. 170,000 plus compared to 67,000 for the PS3 version. So yes, people have always wanted to play RPGs on the go. It's something that's kind of built into the quality of life for a lot of people in Japan. So if you're a Japanese developer and you're releasing a game in Japan that's a Japanese RPG, or heck, lots of different types of games at this point, you will lose sales no matter what if there's no Nintendo Switch version of the game. Plain and simple. Even if you look at stuff like Attack on Titan, imagine if there was no Nintendo Switch version of that game, it would have done a lot worse, considering the PS4 sales and the Nintendo Switch sales were pretty even when it comes to it, despite the PS4 having more than 1 million sales lead on the Nintendo Switch. So that's the thing that I want to just let people know. There's no need to overreact when it comes to it. This is just going to happen when it comes to it. Now, looking over what Ni no Kuni 2 is in terms of the type of game and should it have done better, absolutely it should have sold better. If you look at Ni no Kuni 1 on the PlayStation 3, even though having no Nintendo Switch version did take away sales, I think it still definitely should have done better than the first Ni no Kuni, considering how good the game is. It's just something that should have happened. But once again, the quality of life, having that type of game anywhere that you want, that's something that Japanese gamers want. And if you don't provide that, that doesn't mean more people are just going to go buy the PlayStation 4 version of the game. You just might lose those sales outright. And we've seen that multiple times with different Japanese developers that decide that they just want to release on one platform, the PlayStation 4, and not have a Nintendo Switch version. They just lose sales. Or if they had a PS Vita version and they had a PlayStation 3 version, or a PS Vita version and a PlayStation 4 version, then they just went with PlayStation 4 for the next game, they lost sales. We saw that with the Trails of Cold Steel or Trials of Cold Steel or whatever it is. With that title in Japan, they went with only PlayStation 4, no PS Vita version, and they didn't get more PlayStation 4 sales. They just lost out on those portable sales. And I think this is something that Japanese developers are well aware of, and we're going to see a lot more games come over. It's going to take a little bit more time because a lot of people did not have confidence in the system. So what do you guys think about the media crate when it comes to Valkyria Chronicles 4 and Ni no Kuni 2? Did any of you guys pick up the game? Are you guys planning on picking up Valkyria Chronicles 4 for the Nintendo Switch or other systems? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, and moving into the next story here, Super Mario Odyssey. We are getting some brand new costumes, and these ones might be the best yet because we do have 2 new costumes that are now available in Super Mario Odyssey, along with the Saddle-O-View, okay, the Saddle-O-View helmet and the Saddle-O-View suit. Players can also spend their coins on the batting helmet and baseball uniform as well. So as you can see here, the Saddle-O-View, I think I'm saying that right. I might be saying it wrong. Terribly sorry for all the Saddle-O-View fanboys out there, or people who just don't like when I mispronounce things. Yeah, that was basically the thing that Nintendo had, where you could play games online at certain times with the Super Nintendo. You kind of just tune into the TV show and have it hooked up, or whatever the case was with internet, and you can play those games on a hookup to the Super Nintendo. So it was pretty crazy what they were doing, the technology and what Nintendo was doing back then at that time. And you can have a costume that's based on that, which is really, really cool. I like the fact that they're doing that. And then the baseball costume is just the baseball costume. So as you guys know, Nintendo used to own a baseball team, and that was the Seattle Mariners. They do not own the team anymore. I think they sold their stake in it. But yeah, they used to do all sorts of cool stuff with the Seattle Mariners. I think at one point you used to be able to, like, to rent DSs and play them right there in the stadium. You could purchase systems there as well. And the Seattle Mariners were actually my favorite team growing up as a kid. I loved the Seattle Mariners. I loved Ken Griffey Jr. I loved Edgar Martinez. I loved Randy Johnson, Alex Rodriguez. They had such a stacked team, and they never won a World Series, which was very unfortunate because they had a really talented and young nucleus of players, and they probably should have won a championship. But either way, the baseball uniform gets me salty about the Seattle Mariners not winning the championship with Ken Griffey. But overall, these 2 costumes are absolutely amazing. I love what they're doing with Super Mario Odyssey. They've been adding in some cool game modes, the Super Balloon mode or whatever that is, with the Luigi in there. They also have some new costumes coming in. I think this game is ripe for some DLC when it comes to an announcement. I think it's going to happen at some point. I just don't know when. And what I mean is in lines of us getting some actual story-based content, DLC or extra levels, things like that. If they're doing the Balloon World thing in terms of that, they can do a little bit more. It's been very successful so far, and Super Mario Odyssey has been selling like crazy. I would not be surprised if that game has sold over 10 million units at this point, because the last that we heard of it, it was at over 9 million units, and that is just insane for an install base of what, 15 to 17 million, somewhere in that range. So the fact that the game is selling that well and the Nintendo Switch is very popular, I think they can kind of draw this one a little bit out longer in terms of the sales and put some more content in there. So we'll have to wait and see if we get some Super Mario Odyssey DLC. But what do you guys think about this in terms of the costumes here? Did you guys ever get a chance to play the Saddle-O-View? Also, what do you guys think about this baseball uniform as well? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Alright, and moving into the final story here, Fire Emblem Warriors version 1.5.0 update is now available to download. Makes Awakening DLC available if you do have the season pass or if you need to purchase it. So the latest update for Fire Emblem Warriors is here. Let's go ahead and go over what's been added into the mix. I did cover this a little bit, I think, last week, but now we have the exact patch notes. So there's some pretty cool stuff in this one too, guys. So Fire Emblem Awakening pack compatibility has been added. The level cap for characters has been increased to 150 750, so that's really good. They actually got that one faster, I think, than Hyrule Warriors did, or it might have been the same. Either way, that's cool. Higher levels is always good. New weapon attributes, legendary, has been added. New blessings has been added. New crests have been added. Level reset has been added. After clearing story mode, you can reset a character's level at the temple, which is really cool if you want to do some different things. Continuous blessing setting has been added. You can receive the same blessings as the last battle without going to the temple. Video capture compatibility has been added, which is really cool, and man, it took them a while to add that. Credits have been updated, improvements to the UI, and various bug fixes. So that's pretty cool. Improvements to the UI, the user interface. So I'd like to see what they did there. Various bug fixes as well, probably making text a little bit bigger to see and adjusting things. And also, I know there's some issues with equipping weapons and things like that and comparing the two. That was also kind of convoluted. I think they fixed some of that in there, but there might have been an issue with the update in terms of when they fixed it and the text. So maybe they got that fixed up as well. And I've been saying this every single time, but I'll continue saying this until I actually put the game in my system. I really need to get back into Fire Emblem Warriors on the Nintendo Switch. I put around 15 to 20 hours into there, and I like the game, but there was just so many games coming out. Super Mario Odyssey came out right after that. Then you had all those third-party games in November, from Resident Evil to LA Noire to Doom to Skyrim, and then Xenoblade came out after that. So it just got swept up in all the games. So hopefully I can get back into it at some point. I really do need to get back into it, and we'll see what happens going forward in the future, because I love these changes, and I bought the DLC. I bought the season pass, and I haven't accessed any of it at this point, man. So it's bad. My backlog just even gets worse when you include DLC. So what do you guys think about Fire Emblem Warriors version 1.5.0 dropping on the Nintendo Switch? You guys gonna go boot up Fire Emblem Warriors? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. All right, Ninja, that wraps it up for this video here. Go ahead and check out the links in the description below. We've got Facebook, we've got Twitter. Go ahead and give us a like and a follow on our social media. Really helps us spread the content of Player Essence across the webs in addition to YouTube. Also, make sure you check out our Patreon, Twitch, and YouTube live gaming page. Consider supporting Player Essence. When you do so, it gets you access to all sorts of cool benefits, perks, rewards, and emotes via YouTube sponsorship. So check out the link in the description below and consider supporting Player Essence right here on YouTube. Hit that like button if you did like this video. Lets me know you guys want more content like this going forward in the future. And subscribe to Player Essence for the latest RPG, Japanese, and Nintendo gaming news. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you, Ninja, for the next video. Peace!